Ah yes, vacations in Japan. I absolutely love visiting there. The food is amazing, the people are kind and conscientious, new and authentic experiences are just around the corner. In just Tokyo alone, there's so much to do and see that a 2-week vacation doesn't often feel like enough time. For me, there's literally no better place to rest, relax, and recharge. If you enjoy video games and anime culture, you're basically in heaven. And if you're like me, a Guilty Gear player who's always looking to improve, I'm sure you're already looking for the next challenge. Now, regarding that, if I were to play Guilty Gear in Japan, how and where exactly could I do that? The first place you might consider is at the arcades, but with the changes that happened during the COVID pandemic, nowadays you might find it challenging to do that. So today, I'd like to share with you the 3 ways that I played Guilty Gear in Japan, in sort of a chill travel vlog style. Within these 3 particular methods, I also want to show you guys what other cool things you could do besides playing Guilty Gear. I should let you know in advance that not all attempts to play Strive were successful. In the 3 methods I tried, my playtime in Strive varied from a lot of games to basically no games. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I know it's not my usual style of video, but I wanted to try something new this time. Alright, my name's Nagai, your Guilty Gear OG-san. Let's just safe jump right into it, starting off with arcades. Okay, so, talking about Japanese arcades in its present state isn't quite complete without sharing what it was like in the past. Let's go back in time to the year 2010, which was when I just graduated pharmacy school and I treated myself to a solo trip to Japan. It was a long time ago, so smartphones and Google Maps were barely a thing. As you can imagine, traveling around in a foreign place was very intimidating. I was lucky to have some friends who showed me around and got me acclimatized to the area. My good friend RTL42 introduced me to this little retro arcade near Takadanobaba Station, tucked away in an unassuming alley. This game center was none other than the legendary Mikado arcade. It was here where I met and randomly teamed up with the Potemkin GOAT FAB in a 3v3 weekly bracket. Sadly, we got OCV'd by a lesser known Eddie player, and I hilariously remember FAB saying something like, "We lost the character, not the player." It was at this point in which we all went out for strong zeros and ramen, laughing and reminiscing our time together, because it's not all about winning, it's about the friends we make along the way. I'm sorry, the last part didn't happen. I wish I hung out with FAB, that guy's so cool. Anyways, the good old days, am I right? Since then, whenever I visit Tokyo, I always make it a point to visit Mikado. It was a great place to find the strongest players, and also to bump into friends from around the world. But everything changed when the COVID pandemic attacked. When we returned to Japan, sadly, Mikado was merely a shadow of its former self. It's still a really cool arcade for retro games. It even has my favorite pinball machine, Medieval Madness, but when we last visited, there was no strong presence of Guilty Gear. Back in the day, you can quite literally drop in on any night and find matches offline just as fast as you could on East Coast Strive servers. Now it's like North America West Coast, if you know what I mean. I was pretty bummed out as this time it was my buddy's first visit to Japan, and my wife and I wanted to show him a cool Guilty Gear arcade. Sadly, we were the only ones playing Guilty Gear at Mikado. Now, with that said, Mikado is still one of the coolest arcades in Tokyo. With most arcades converting into your cookie-cutter Gigo game centers, rest in peace Sega arcades, retro establishments like Mikado and Hey Arcade are becoming more like hidden gems now, so visiting them is still something quite special. On my most recent trip to Japan, I wanted to give arcades another shot. We heard that there's an arcade in the Shinjuku area, which apparently is a Guilty Gear hotspot, so that was on the checklist of places to visit. Okay, so I was on vacation with my wife, and visiting Shinjuku with the sole purpose of playing Guilty Gear at an arcade seemed a bit selfish on my part. I think I'd be sleeping on the couch for a while if I had let that happen. So allow this experienced OG-san to impart with you some strategic Shinjuku daytime suggestions that don't involve playing Guilty Gear at the arcades * Lamau. Now, Shinjuku is awesome, but it isn't my favorite place to visit. It can be quite crowded, especially now since international tourism is at its record-breaking high. Still, there are a few places that my wife and I like to go to when we're in the neighborhood. For instance, when the weather is nice, one of our favorite places to visit is Shinjuku Gardens. It's a very chill change of scenery from the busyness of the city. It can be very calming, yet also kinda scary sometimes. I've always seen these hornets on social media, but never in real life. Lately, it is becoming more busy, but if you go at the right time, it's not so bad. especially when you compare it to the main train station nearby. Another place we like to visit is Artnia, the Square Enix Cafe. It is a bit out of the way, which I feel is a blessing in disguise, as there are often tables available if you want to dine in. There you can order some really cool Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest themed foods and drinks. As someone who grew up playing these games, there's no other experience like enjoying some classic Nobuo Uematsu music while eating Chocobo themed pancakes. After you stuff yourself with these pancakes, you gotta check out the Crystal Room. Here they showcase their latest figures and other various products. When you're done with the Crystal Room, you can pick up some Final Fantasy merch on your way out if you haven't done so already. Up next, let's visit the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building. Why visit this building, you ask? Because it's freaking amazing. Apparently we're not the only ones who think that, since you can often see it in your favorite games and anime. There's also a nice public park nearby if you want to take a break from the crowds. Anyways, after grabbing a quick snack and drink, we head over to Shinjuku Sportsland. On the upper floors near the back, you can find an area which appears to be dedicated to Guilty Gear. Alright, let's try and get some practice with Dizzy. No better place to try and get good than at the Japanese arcades, I say. I got myself an Aimi card, dropped 100 yen and uh-oh, where's Dizzy? Oh no, the arcade software hasn't been updated? It looks like the previous patch. Apparently, the arcade version of Strive doesn't get updated on the same cycle as console and PC, which is wild to me because back in the day, it's always been the other way around. Arcade version patch first, and then home versions. Alright, well, I spent my money. I guess I'll pick Testament and have fun against a random opponent. Well, I didn't actually get any matches in. I'm assuming it connects you to some arcade network for matchmaking while you wait in training mode. Or maybe I'm just waiting for someone to sit at a cab locally to play me? I don't know. We can also just chalk this up to me getting cooked for not knowing enough Japanese. After feeling defeated for not playing anyone in Strive, I decided to check out a random GGXrD cabinet for old time's sake, you know? It didn't take very long for someone to notice and 1v1 me actually. Very happy to see people still play GGXrD in the arcades. I didn't find out until a little bit later that Shinjuku Sportsland has dedicated nights for both the classic competitive Guilty Gears. If you wanted to play GGXrD, you would drop in on Friday night, and then swing by Saturday if you wanted to see some Plus R war crimes.
Yes! Oh, suck it, guy!
In the end, for one reason or another, I didn't get any practice with Strive Dizzy that night. I would say the arcades are not the ideal place if you want to play Guilty Gear Strive. However, if you enjoy the classics, you're in luck. Alright, here's a question. With arcades out of the equation, what would you say is the best way to play fighting games offline? If your answer is local meetups, then hey, we're thinking the same thing. And if you're in the Tokyo area, you're in luck because this is where you can find Tatakai Tuesdays, which is the world's best fighting game local according to the Evo 2025 Awards show. You can find Tatakai Tuesdays at the Red Bull Gaming Sphere, which is about 5 minutes south of Nakano Station. So, what are we waiting for? Let's hop on the JB Chuosobu line and head over to Nakano Station right now. The Nakano area is pretty neat. We seldom visit there, but when we do, I'm always feeling like I should have visited there more often. Once off the train, you're immediately greeted by a covered yokocho, or an outside street market, where you can grab a quick snack and do some window shopping. I like that this area is not too busy. I mean, it is a little crowded, but you're not shoulder to shoulder with people, unlike many other yokocho and some other popular areas. I feel like this area isn't too popular with mainstream tourists, at least for now anyway. At the end of the yokocho, there's an older vintage looking mall packed with secondhand shops selling merch from all your favorite classic shows. If you're like me and my wife and grew up watching anime in the 90s, this place is really something special.
Huh?
Dude, just look at this one-of-a-kind Guyver figure. Years ago, I actually picked up this Belle Dandy figure for about 5,000 yen, or about $50 Canadian. I didn't buy it at first, but after finding out how much it cost on eBay, I immediately went back to get it. We spent a good amount of time perusing this one shop that sold classic anime cells. Filming wasn't allowed without permission, so I'm just gonna show you a pic. Yo, check this out. Anyways, if you like video games and anime but don't want to push through the crowds of Akiba, then I highly recommend Nakano Broadway for a chill, nostalgic time. But hey, the main reason why we're here is to play Guilty Gear. So, south of the station, walk about 5 minutes and you'll be at the Red Bull Gaming Sphere. Walk down some stairs, get greeted by Dizzy, and you're in. When we went, they had an open area with several games set up, at the time ranging from Strive, some Melty Blood, and Tekken. There was no entry fee, but you had to register your name on a sign-in sheet. I registered for their single elimination Strive bracket beforehand, which actually got a local to show up. Check it out, it's my buddy STN Kaien from Brojo Cup. I also met up with my good friend Namasu, who currently runs Rating Update, and her friend Hobo Robo. There were no rules strictly defining how long to stay at a setup, so if you wanted to play, you would kindly ask if you can get in on the next set. Now, you might be wondering how well I did at this tournament. Let's just say it would have been nice if the arcade version had been patched so I could have practiced a bit beforehand. Nah, I got cooked by a strong ABBA player. Still, I had a good time. One thing that is sorely lacking in online play is that human interaction aspect of fighting games. For instance, we joked that this fight was about who had the better waifu. I'm sorry Dizzy, I wasn't strong enough. In the end, ABBA was the better waifu. It was single elimination, so after this loss, I was immediately out of the tournament. But that's okay, it's all about the friends we make along the way, and the food we eat afterwards. There are plenty of places around here to eat and hang out. Ayo, there's a Kura Sushi near the station. And if you're feeling like reliving your favorite anime family restaurant scene, yo, check it out, a royal host. Now, as much as I enjoy playing side by side with someone, offline gatherings such as locals and arcades aren't the best way to practice if you want to grind a bunch of games back to back. If you're not winning all the time, there can be quite a bit of downtime, which is especially true in my case as I wasn't winning a whole lot with Dizzy. I'd say if you really want to grind out games in Japan, the best way to do that is probably bring your own setup and play online. Which leads us into my last method of playing Guilty Gear in Japan, at your hotel or other accommodation. First of all, if you're going to be doing this, double check and make sure that the place you're staying at has an Ethernet port. Don't be like me and book accommodations without checking. I'd imagine you'd be very disappointed if you were locked into playing with hotel Wi-Fi. Luckily, when we got to our place, I was relieved to find out that we indeed had an Ethernet port to connect to. Whew! So up to this point, I've been showcasing some places of interest to tie into a specific method of play. For instance, Shinjuku was arcades and Nakano was locals. I can't really do that with this particular method. I mean, I could show you the surrounding neighborhood, which is pretty cool, the Kamedo area in Sumida City, but that doesn't quite highlight the biggest advantage of bringing your own setup. Which is this, you could do whatever you want during the day and quote-unquote come home to do a bit of gaming. For this 2-week trip, it was almost a daily routine to fill our mornings and afternoons chilling in Tokyo, and then decompress with a few games before going to bed. Thanks to jet lag, a lot of times I'd be waking up hours earlier than my wife, which gave me plenty of time to sneak in a bunch of games, or to explore the neighborhood if I was feeling it. There was even one day in which I decided to do a bit of live streaming on Twitch. And even though that took up most of the morning and part of the afternoon, we still had plenty of time to do some cool, spontaneous things in the evening. You get a lot of flexibility with bringing your own setup, which leads me to the heavy downside of this method. Bringing your own setup. Oh man, I'm getting PTSD from this. Obviously not the most comfortable thing to do. So I brought over my gaming laptop along with my arcade stick, which if I hadn't made it obvious enough, is a pain to travel with. Traveling with an arcade stick always reminds me that maybe I should learn how to play on a hitbox, which would be way easier to pack. Alright, it is what it is. I was gonna pack my stick for Tatakai Tuesdays either way, so it all worked out. So how is the online experience? Outside of maybe one random morning, online play was very stable, which is expected from Japan's generally godlike internet. The entire nation of Japan is basically smaller than my home province in Canada, and is also on a fiber optic network, which is actually lacking in my hometown. The level of play felt stronger than average. On North American servers, I'm pretty comfy sitting on the celestial level, But in Japan, I actually struggled in floor 10. Eventually I made it past the Celestial Challenge, but man, the things I saw players do on floor 10 there would not be seen on North American floor 10, let me tell you, unless you ran into Smurf accounts. This was my experience anyway, and maybe I was just very unlucky with matchmaking. Although I do remember seeing floor 10 being very busy, like we're talking 8 to 10 packed rooms with people playing. It was really cool to see Strive very alive online there, although it did make me a bit sad realizing that this could be why there was a lack of people playing Strive in the arcades. With that said, those are my 3 ways that I played Guilty Gear in Japan. I hope you enjoyed this style of video. It has been on my list of things to do for months now. I'm pretty happy to find some time to actually do it. One method I forgot to check out was playing at an internet cafe, which apparently a lot of pro players do. Obviously, I'm not a pro player. I didn't get a chance to do that, so maybe that'll be for next time. For now, I'll be working on more videos and grinding out matches on stream. I'll have at least one more video like this. It'll be about how to find Guilty Gear merch in Japan, so please look forward to that. Anyways, my name's Nagai, your Guilty Gear Oji-san. I'll see y'all next time. Alright, bye. Bye-bye.